right, let's do it. Let's do it good. Let's do it right. Whew. We picked a heavy hitter, gratitude. This is a word that you are going to hear all over the internet, whether you're listening to life coaches, spiritual gurus, tarot readers. It comes up over and over again that having the attitude of gratitude is one of the best things you can do to help expedite your manifestations into reality. But is this concept really having the vibrational punch we're wanting it to for everybody? Let's get into it. Let's kick back a little bit. Let's get comfortable. Let's get into it. Welcome, everybody. I'm Kat, and this is Vibrational You, where we kind of take common spiritual practices and concepts and sort of break them down vibrationally so that everybody has an opportunity to see whether or not they pass the vibe check for you personally. I'm a big believer that no one way really works for everybody consistently because we're all different. We all have our different experiences and socializations. So, when examining practices that you're using for manifestation or just life improvement in general, it's important to take a look at what those things really mean to you and what they're invoking for you. And today, for the out the gate, I picked a big one, gratitude, because it's everywhere. And I really think it's worth examining it a little bit more closely. Okay, now, as I'm sure most people are already aware, the intent or the purpose behind intentionally cultivating a vibration to put out into the universe for manifestation purposes is to emulate or go ahead and sit in the feeling of what it is you want to attract to yourself in order to be a vibrational match to it. Law of attraction, that which is like unto itself is drawn. Essentially, we want to use practices that are invoking the feeling of what we want, which is going to be a little bit different for everybody. For example, most people want wealth. They want to attract wealth into their lives. I feel that. But wealth can actually feel like something very different depending on your point of view. For some people, wealth is going to feel like security and stability, relief. For other people, wealth may feel like empowerment or freedom to choose and do whatever they want. So it's going to be very different. Same thing with love. Like, love is, I think we all know love can mean something very different to a lot of different people. So let's take a look at what the different meanings or what gratitude can really mean when we're using this as a cultivating practice for vibration. The idea behind being in an attitude of gratitude is to highlight for yourself the things in your life that already make you feel satisfied and content and happy in order to put those feelings in the now and put them out vibrationally and attract more satisfaction and contentment to yourself. But using gratitude for that can be a tricky situation for some people. And what I mean by that is that this is a word that for many of us, not all of us, it's not going to hit that way for everybody, but for a lot of people, myself included, this word was sort of wielded against us like a weapon by parents and older people, adults in our lives, for times when we wanted something that they couldn't provide, that we didn't like something that we were given, anytime that we were stepping outside of the social norm. And y'all know what I mean by that. Like, you should be grateful for what you have, you know, be grateful for the roof over your head. Some people don't have that. Be grateful, eat your mushy peas. Some people don't have food at all. Some people don't have a mom to make them food. Like, this word grateful or gratitude was sort of wielded in a very domineering way, um, to invoke feelings of unworthiness. We're not worthy to ask for more or ask for something that we want. Um, Lack mentality. There's not enough. Some people don't have enough, you know? Guilt. you should feel guilty that you're not happy with just what you have. Like, for many people, the concept of gratitude can be tightly wrapped and associated with unpleasant feelings that are not only not attracting what you want, but they're almost exactly the opposite of what you're trying to achieve. You are worthy. You can ask for whatever you want. You don't need to feel guilty about wanting what you want. It's oddly almost can be the exact opposite practice of what we're hoping to achieve in cultivating a vibration. Now, I'm going to be completely honest and say that this can be a difficult thing to talk about openly because we have, by and large, been socialized to believe that gratitude is an attractive quality, and that being ungrateful is gross and bad. It's an unattractive quality to be ungrateful. Once again, we were socialized growing up with this because of for other people's comfort levels, right? Like, think of a child when they get a present from an aunt or a family member that they don't actually care for, and they immediately get told, "Don't be ungrateful, be grateful." And that's you're doing that for the feelings of the person who gave you something, not for yourself, right? So gratitude is often something that is ingrained into us to maintain a comfortable social status, to placate other people's feelings. And I'm not saying stop being nice to people at all. That's not what I'm saying. But when you're working with yourself just for vibrational purposes, what you're trying to cultivate a feeling for yourself, I'm not sure who we're trying to placate in that situation. Sorry for the costume change, but in the cat verse, it's actually the next day, so it is what it is. When we're working with a concept like gratitude, a lot of this stems from or comes from the hierarchical structure that a lot of people are working within. Meaning, just like your parents, if your parents aren't happy with your behavior or what you're doing, they could cut you off and not give you anything else. That's how that works. But it spreads out into other things. It could be your teachers at school that are above you. It could be whatever your work, Santa Claus, or even God for a lot of people. So working with gratitude is it can be the feeling of, if I'm not grateful, if I don't present that kind of a behavior, then I could be cut off from getting anything else. So in that kind of a thought process or that kind of a case, we're really working more with the fear of being cut off from more rather than the actual joy of what you have. Now, the idea in discussing all of these types of things isn't to tout gratitude as good or bad, but it's really to give everyone the opportunity to really get into their own feelings and think about what sorts of things are really driving that practice for you personally, and what kinds of feelings and vibrations it's actually invoking to put out into the universe. We don't attract to ourselves based on a word. We attract to ourselves based on the actual vibrations that it's invoking in us. So, an easy way to think about it or kind of visualize it would be taking it back to like a child at Christmas. You can really tell and feel the difference when a child opens a present and they're sort of like, "Oh, okay, thank you," you know, as opposed to when that child like really gets something they're actually wanting. That feeling is a lot more like, "Oh my God, I got the thing." It's that pure excitement and elation. The the thankfulness is implicit in the joy. So the actual gratitude isn't necessary. And if you think about it as an adult, like, which reaction would you rather have from a child on Christmas Day? The kind of okay, thank you, or that running around the room can't wait to play with it. And that's really the difference in the energy feeling. If you are like me and sort of struggled with using gratitude as a method for invoking those sort of excited feelings, it's okay to feel that way. Um, and it's also okay completely if gratitude works for you, to invoke those feelings. If it's working, don't fix it, right? The idea is just to be able to think about it a little bit more in depth to cultivate the vibration you're really wanting. And there are some other ways that you can invoke that feeling while leaving the concept or the notion of gratitude out of it completely if it works better for generating the vibe you're wanting. The concept of gratitude is one that can have a lot of different emotional layers and a lot of different context meanings to it that can kind of muddy up the vibration for some people. Um, I know personally for me, is as weird as it sounds, I actually ended up having a cleaner vibration for what I was looking for from just appreciating something like my morning BM, the satisfaction, the relief, the just lighter, ready to start my day, than I was from writing pages of gratitude, trying to force the concept of what am I grateful for. Because that feeling, it doesn't want anything from me. I don't owe it my gratitude. Same thing with appreciating just the moon or the way the light looks on clouds at sunset. It's just pure artwork. It's fantastic. But it didn't give it to you. You don't owe it anything. There's no gratitude vibration in that. Um, so for me, I changed what I was doing to writing just I love statements. I love the smell of my coffee in the morning. It's so invigorating. I love the different colors in fall. What a joy to just take all of that in. And it was a way easier. I can write pages and pages of I love statements where I was struggling to come up with a feeling of gratitude that actually felt the same easy flow of joyful appreciation. The concept behind this is just to be able to put out some discussion on very commonly touted spiritual or manifestation concepts and talk about what those really mean vibrationally for people as an individual. Um, the journey is all a very personal one, and so the vibration is going to be different for everybody too. I hope that this was useful for you, that you were able to take some of it and do your own personal vibe check on how gratitude actually feels for you, or at the very least, that it was thought provoking. Um, if you have practices that you use for it that you want to drop in the comments, go ahead. I love to see them. And if you're interested, stick with it because we're going to dig into some other real popular, real common concepts and talk about what they might actually mean for you on a vibrational level. Thanks.